is a poet whose work strives to move humanity forward in healing and togetherness. Her poetry delves into the darkest parts of humanity, believing that it is in exposing ourselves, our wounds, and being our most authentic selves that we can heal as individuals and collectively. She is an award-winning poet. Simsime woo. Thank you. Soon to be published. Simsime woo again. Woo. Recently claiming the title of Slam Queen Kenya 2024. She explores the themes of womanhood, humanity, love, war, politics, social justice, identity, and authenticity. Writing has always been her refuge, a way to make peace with the complexities of the world and envision a brighter future for us all. Greatly influenced by women and indigenous poets, Scar poetry, I say Scar poetry, yeah? Mejua at Nigani, and then you Instagram at Scar poetry, Scar_poetry. I lost my point. Yeah, hopes to inspire readers to embrace their authentic selves and cultivate compassion for each other. She hopes her poetry inspires a greater sense of care for one another and serves as a reminder of our shared humanity. She has just launched her YouTube channel, and again, Mushike, at Scar and Her Poetry. That's very simple. Where she hopes to share her journey as a poet and in life. Scar Poetry hopes to be remembered as someone who spoke up for the voiceless and worked to remind us the duty we owe to each other and to humanity. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here.
It's great to be here.
I've seen you slam before, and you're a very, very powerful poet.
Thank you.
And extremely passionate as well. Whatever you say, it's really from your heart. It's not to get a bar out there. It's not to get a reaction. It's even in a field, bro. And I can show even in a field.
Yeah.
Yeah? So I love that, and it's an honor to have you here and to speak to you. But I would also let you introduce yourself.
Well, I think my introduction really does say the things that I would like to say, especially about my poetry. But other than that, I'm just a fun-loving hippie girl who's in love with the world and, in love with my community, in love with the people around me, and constantly trying to make the world better for myself, for those I love, and for everyone existing in this universe at the same time as me.
Beautiful. I think I've seen you slam twice. The first was here. No, I think both were here. No. The first was here. It was in the auditorium. And the second was, not slam, but perform, was a slam. The second was in the garden, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah? So coming from the women's slam and winning the women's slam, how has that experience been for you?
It was honestly wonderful. It was, I like to say, for me, it felt like a full circle moment. So I slammed, women's slam twice. The first year I became second position, and then the second year is now 2024 where I won.
Yeah.
And so even to be on the stage and be handed the crown by Winnie Maduro, who was the previous winner the year before, it felt full circle for me. It felt like something that eventually I would have achieved. It was just... it was there finally. And then also the winner before that, Nyash, is one of my closest, most intimate friends.
Yeah.
And so it just, I don't know, it felt like it's something that had always been within my reach and that had now finally just come full circle.
So your homies are just poets?
Most of them, yeah, they're either poet, musicians, artists. I'm gifted in that way to have a community of healers, artists,
Okay, where I was leading to this is, can I be your homie too?
Huh?
Can I be your homie too? That's where we were leading to.
We can be homies.
Okay, so you are a very confident person. You really know yourself, and that's what you give off. Has that always been you, or was there a point where that became you? Was it like a conscious choice, or has that always been you?
I think it has always been me. but then it's also a conscious choice to constantly refine and reclaim that identity as a confident person. Because, especially as a woman, when you're confident or you walk into a room thinking, I deserve to be here, there's, kona airs and whatever. So it's an identity I've always had with, but one I've also had to make peace with. Because especially through high school, high school was just a terrible time and a good time as well. But people would always pick on me for that confidence. Say, where's the line between confidence and pride? Where's the line between confidence and rudeness and stuff like that? So it's something I've always been, but it's something I've also had to refine and reclaim and find comfort in being that. And just say, this is who I am.
Love that. I always find that people who don't know the line between confidence and ego are people who just lack confidence, and that's why you can't tell the difference. Because if you can tell it, you recognize it in someone else, just like you're just a confident person, right? Your performance went viral. Right?
Which one?
Your slam. The first one, your slam performance went viral.
Yes, it did.
I don't know. You seem quite young to me. I don't know how old you are.
I'm 26 this Saturday, guys.
I actually thought you were younger than that, but happy birthday.
Everybody does.
Happy birthday. I thought you were younger than that, which it's still okay to ask this question. But then again, I think for you, you're somebody who knows yourself. So just because you've got a certain reach, I don't think that really alters you. But how was that for you? How did you feel with that? And did it create any type of worry of, say, losing yourself and a pressure maybe to create now what you weren't creating before for people or whatever it is, or to achieve the same virality again and again? Tell us about that.
First, when it happened, I felt so reassured and sane. When it happened, the first poem that went viral was the poem about Congo, Palestine, and Sudan. And so when I woke up and I saw, by the way, I posted at night and then I woke up and I was like, hey, Rada, why do I have so many notifications? And so I was like, when I saw that, first it was like people saying, yes, what you're speaking about matters. And so many people might not have the words to say these things, but if they did, they could, because by reposting, by sharing, they were also saying those words. And so it just felt like a reassurance to me that my poetry and the things I spoke about in my poetry mattered. Like you said, I don't write for buzz. And so sometimes you feel like, what? Every time I leave the stage, people are just quiet. Nobody's shouting. Everybody's in their feelings. And so sometimes you start to wonder at it. And so it was another kind of reassurance that we see you, we see what you say, and we love what you're saying because we want to be saying it too. And it showed me that the world cares as much as I do. I stopped feeling so alone in caring about those things that I care about. And then, yes, there was some pressure to be like, okay, now that you have this audience, what will you say? What will you tell them? What will you use this platform for? And there was pressure to try and create poetry that, of course, goes viral. But then, like I said, it's always a coming back to yourself. And I said, when I wrote that poem, I really didn't care about how the world would receive it. I was writing my truth, and therefore, I think what it made me realize the most is that there's so much gap for truth in the world. There's so much gap for vulnerability. People are thirsty for vulnerability. They're thirsty for honesty. They're thirsty for someone who will tell them it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to care. It's okay to not be nonchalant. And so I think then it was just like going back to myself and saying I will keep sharing my vulnerability, my poetry, and in that open and invite others to do the same.
No, that's beautiful. That piece was very, you connected the struggles, right? Because sometimes, or a lot of time, art connects struggles in a more, what's the word for it? I can't find the word for it. But in a minimized way. So be, say, connecting the struggle of Nairobi to Nakuru or Nakuru to Mombasa, but connecting the struggle, the global struggle and the global oppression. So where did that sense of social justice for you come in?
You said when?
Where?
I think, like even apart from my poetry.
And when to?
Even apart from my poetry, this is a conversation I have all the time. And I say our struggles are one and the same thing. Oppression literally feeds off of each other. So every oppressive system cannot exist unless the other
Without the
oppressive
other.
system exists to... They feed off of each other. It's like they're all... zinaitangwa zile vitu zinasimamanga hivi kwa nyumba so that they hold the house.
The pillars?
Yeah, they're the pillars, literally. Oppression, this form of oppression is a pillar, and another form of oppression is a pillar, and another
Hold
form
it
of...
all together.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And all together they become now this system that we are under, but really they work together. And so for me, it was to try and weave that. Because, you know, when you begin to speak about issues like war and racism and stuff like that, people tend to say, oh, those are not problems that are affecting us. And so to try and weave that and to show everybody that the reason why you're facing this is because you're in the same system as someone else. For example, the Sudani is in the same system as the Palestinian.
Correct.
And the people profiting in Sudan are the people
Same
profiting
people,
in
yeah.
Palestine. It's literally the
Same
same
system, yeah.
same shit.
Yeah.
So for me, it was just trying to weave that and to make people see it in as simple a way as possible.
When did you start writing?
I started writing when I was young. I didn't even know I was writing when I started writing. I like to say the first time I really started writing a lot was like people would have me write in the... You remember when we were finishing school, like in class 8, people would have these books that they would have their friends writing.
Yeah,
so that they can carry it. And I remember that's the first time it struck me how beautiful or powerful my writing was.
Yeah.
Because everybody was bringing me their books and I'm like, but I'm not your friend. And then they're like,
Could
but you write
what
so
am I
well.
writing?
You know, and everybody just wanted me to write in the book, and I began to notice, oh, I write beautifully.
Yeah.
I write beautifully. Then I became a teenager, and, you know, being a teenage girl and all the emotions that you're feeling, everything you're going through, I pummeled that through my writing. And then eventually it became... I like to say when I started writing, I wasn't a poet. I was just a girl trying to figure out her life.
Yeah.
And then eventually...
You're like, oh shit, it has a name.
Yeah. Too many poems.
When's the first time you performed a poem?
The first time okay, now you see. The first time I performed a poem, I was probably like in class 1 or something.
Oh yeah, those ones
But it
you're given
wasn't
to...
my poem.
Yeah.
But the first time I performed my own written poem, I was 17. It was... actually, one of my friends is in the crowd. We did a concert together. It was a mental health concert sponsored by Equity Group Foundation. And then we pulled something together. We were trying to speak about mental health among young people at that time. And then that was the first time I performed an original work of mine.
Yeah, and how did that feel, like the first time being on stage and performing?
It felt very... It's like you're there and you're like, whoa, people are actually being moved
like
by
this.
People actually like this. Like, people are actually listening, and it's moving them, and it's doing something for them.
Yeah, I think it was the same for me when I first did a piece. I was like, oh shit, I think I like this feeling.
Yeah.
I like being here. We could do this, you know? Okay. Your poetry, you speak a lot about women. I think I've heard a piece where you've spoken about your grandmother, I believe, yeah? You seem pretty close.
We are. That woman is my bestie.
Yeah. So a lot of your work revolves around women, and I think having heard it, I can tell why, because you do speak of the women that have made you the woman you are today. So tell us more about that.
I say I write poetry that's... Like I said, when I started writing poetry, I was just figuring out my life. So my feelings, how I feel about the people in my life, how I feel about what's happening in the world, and automatically then what was important to me always showed up in my poetry. And so the women who raised me, they were important to me, and so they showed up in my poetry, and how they had affected me, and the things I wanted to carry from them, but the things I hated about them, or the things that I wanted to change about them, all of that showed up in my poetry. So I think it was just me writing what was important to me, and they happen to also be very important to me, and so they keep showing up. You know?
Yeah. Okay, so it's not like an intentional thing where I'm writing about women. It's just I've been around women. I've been around these types of women.
These are the things I care about. So they just show up in my poetry.
Okay. You move with no fear when you speak on social justice. So it doesn't matter who hears it. I'm here to say what I'm here to say. Being in Kenya and being like that is very dangerous territory. People just be disappearing left, right, center. Mwingine anachukuliwa, never comes back, you know. Do you ever have that fear?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. What?
Economy ni rough.
Tough, man. I think that it goes back even to that time that we were protesting. Every time the people were on the street, like the reason we ran away from the police, like ukiona police wakikam, you're running away, is because you're afraid. You know, you don't want to get carried, you don't want to end up in the cell, you don't want to end up worse. So the fear is always there. But again, what I know about the system is that the system kills you anyway. The system kills you, and it's funny because I literally posted a poem about this today. So, and in that poem I say, you ask us, like, are we not afraid? But the truth is, we are afraid. We are afraid. But all the system can threaten me with, guy, and don't come for me, is death.
I want to live.
Right? But in so many ways, the system is killing you anyway. Because the system either kills you through a bullet or it kills you through a broken healthcare system. Either way, you're dying.
Yeah.
The system... like, even if it's not actively pointing a gun at your face, the system, by being broken, by being corrupt, by the way it continues to exist, by oppressing us, by design, it's a system that's killing you. So really, what are you threatening me with? You're going to do this thing, whether you do it today or you do it over the course of my life.
Yeah, it's still happening. So I might have a chance at least of changing the course of my life, you know, if I get to live.
At least I tried a little something before I die.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, wasa kirudi June, uko outside bado? June? July next month.
I hope we don't have to, but if we must.
See me, I'll be your friend by then. We can be sisters in arms.
Yeah. Tusipote.
Yeah. So, slamming with women. As well, since you do have a lot of your work that speaks about women, the women that have been in your life or around your life or all of that. How was it having a slam with women? I was a bit envious of you guys because I don't think when I was slamming there was a women's slam. I think it was just slam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was no women's slam. So I never had a chance to just slam with women. And I was just there like, oh, this is dope. I like it. How was that feeling for you?
Man, it was very beautiful. Like, I always feel like, and I would say honestly, it's the same even with slamming at slam itself.
Yeah.
Like, natokanga kwa nyumba nikijiuliza, guy, hao watu wanakuja kuperform nini? Because you just know that it's gonna be gems dropped.
Yeah.
Like, even if I was just there as the audience, I'd be content. Because people bring their soul, their art, their life there, and you're just like, yes. It's a beautiful experience to also just have a platform that's specifically for women. Yeah. Because also then they tell their stories authentically. Yeah. You know, I think the thing as slam is sometimes you're trying to be like, okay, but what will win? You know, what poem will be the most slammable poem or something like that. But then with slam poetry, especially for women, I feel the women can come more as themselves, as maybe more vulnerable, tell the stories that they want to tell about women, by women.
Yeah. I was pretty impressed. Like when the whole lineup was just like crazy. Yeah. One after the other, I was like, who the hell is going to win this thing even? But now back to slamming, right? So you were talking about like picking your piece, you know? Like, do you ever, let's say you're going in, if you're not going in one of the first people, first two, first three people, do you ever sit there and then you see whatever pieces have been performed, you're like, I need to change this other piece of mine. Which one did that one? Does that ever happen?
No, not really. I think the way I have approached slam over the years is like, it's a platform. And so for me, it's always been, what's sitting on my heart right now? Yeah. This is a platform. What's sitting on my heart right now that I want to say? So regardless of what the other poets perform, how beautiful their pieces are, this is a platform, and I have something I came to say, something that's heavy on my heart, and so that's what I will share. Yeah. Yeah.
Is Mufasa your homie?
No, he's not.
Do you know
we DM a little, but
no, because like at the first time I heard you, I was like, I am literally not in terms of the art you perform, so it's not a comparison of the art, but it's the voices. I could just hear Mufasa. I was just like, yo, where's Mufasa? I'm looking at stage. I'm like, no way. Like, do you get that? Have you ever got that before?
No, I've got
Do
it today.
you guys hear it? I don't know if anyone hears. But yeah, there's like the tone of your voice is very similar to Mufasa's, which is interesting.
I think maybe it's because we draw inspiration from the same people. I have had him speak about Rudy Francisco, and Rudy was also one of the first poets that I discovered
Same
online.
here, yeah.
So maybe that's like we were drawing from the same person, and then.
Well, it's not even your style more. It's just literally the tone of your voice. It's like I just hear Mufasa, like, oh my god. Okay, so. Rudy Francisco, right? We were talking about this earlier with Dominion. I think there was a gentleman who spoke earlier, and he said how he watches a lot of poetry from, American artists or US-based poets and UK-based poets. And I thought about that because for me, those are the people I watched a lot as well. But I come to realize it's because we're not creating, like we're not content creating. So if I want to hear ska, most of the times it would be come to a show, right? Come to a show. Otherwise, you don't see that person. And then in terms of our quality as well, we're not producing the same type of quality. And it's not quality in terms of what we write, but quality in terms of production, right?
I feel you.
And it's not because we don't have it. We do have those people, but we lack collaboration as Africans, right? So is that something you're exploring, like collaborating more with videographers and these people to really put your work out there and, the quality it deserves?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I think I have been going into the studio on and off like since last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for my socials, I mostly used to record myself. And then at some point I was like, okay, but how can I take this to the next level? So yes, I have been exploring that a lot, even just having them capture the performances like in physical, and then now I also upload them online so that people can see that. I do that a lot.
No, that's dope. That's dope. I think we need to do a lot more of that because we need to present ourselves. Like just your piece that went viral, it's because it was out there, right? People didn't know, oh shit, Kenya has this poetry like that. But then you hear this person, everyone's like, where's she from? Where's she from? And then all the Kenyans are gathered there from Kenya, just so you know. So yeah, we do need to put a lot more of that. Are you we asked this question earlier, are you a disciplined poet? Do you put time into your craft?
I was in the crowd when you were asking that, and I was like, hey, come to an 2 poems a day. It's not me. I think I write when the inspiration comes. But lately, the form of discipline that I have adopted is writing when the inspiration comes.
Yeah.
Because, as poets, sometimes like the poem comes, but you're like,
I'll find it later.
Yeah, I'll find it later.
Later you'll never find it again, it's gone.
You forget the lines, right? And so that's the form of discipline that I would say I have adopted. Like when the poem comes, even if it's just the lines, I write them down.
Put them down.
Even if it's 4 words, I write them down. Even if it's something that I think is ridiculous, I write it down.
Yeah.
And I'll go through it later and just see what to do with it. And if I do nothing with it, well, then at least I've gained the practice of writing when the poem comes.
Yeah. Nah. So how's your writing process? Like from start to finish of a piece? Do you do it in one sitting, or is it just dependent on the piece really? But then when you are writing a piece, what's the process you go through? Do you go through it, say, line by line, or do you just say, I'll put down whatever ideas and then I'll come back and go through it?
I don't even write through ideas, honestly. I think I've done that only twice, and I didn't like those poems.
Yeah, what came out?
Literally, the best way I would describe it is words come floating to me.
Yeah.
And I just write them. That being said, the words just don't come because they came. They came because I've been marinating.
Time.
This is something I've been thinking about.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about how to say it, or this is something that has been bothering me, and it's been on my mind to speak about it. And so eventually, at some point, it's just cooked and cooked and now it's ready to be served.
Yeah. Makes sense. How do you guys, and by you guys, just poets like you who you cram your pieces, not even cram, you internalize. Someone told me cramming is not a good word. Internalize your pieces, and you just seem to have 10 million pieces in your head that you have right there, which is weird because I have a whole music catalog in my head, and I can, bar to bar, whichever song it is. But with my own pieces, I have a big struggle with that. So after you've written your piece, do you go through it to internalize it and get it in your head? Or is it when you're performing that piece that you do that? How do you go about that?
Most of the time it's when I'm like gearing towards a performance.
Yeah.
So like if I know I have this performance in like 2 months and I go through my work, I decide what do I want to perform on that day? Or maybe I write new poetry that I want to perform on that day, and then just to before, like in that season before the performance, I'm going through that poem literally every day.
Yeah.
I'm figuring out how can I perform this? How can I make sure the audience understands everything I'm trying
How do you
to
want to
say?
deliver it? Yeah.
How do I want to deliver it? How now do I make it into a performance? Because now it's a poem.
Yeah.
But how do I make it a performance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way. I like that. It's a poem, but how do I make it into a performance? That's dope. You're writing a book, or you've written a book that is soon to be published.
Yes.
Tell us more about your book.
So there are 2.
Hey. Not just one, it's 2.
Yes.
Tell us about your 2 books.
So, I was going through my poetry when I decided to publish, which was sometime last year in December, and I realized that I have like basically this whole anthology of like from when I fall in love to when I fall out of love to when I'm breaking up. And so I just felt like, these poems have the same vibe. They should go like into one book that all the lovers will get and just, mourn over it and whatever. And then now my other poems that do not necessarily fit a category, but they're beautiful poems on their own.
Like you two deserve another book.
Yeah, you also just deserve a compilation on your own. So it's 2 anthologies.
Dope.
One of love poems, because what is a poet without a love poem? And one about life.
I'm looking at myself sideways now. I feel judged. I think I wrote my first ever love poem a year ago, right? A year ago. Yeah. My first ever. And I always thought, I'm not really a love poet. I don't think I am. But I think love is also different, right? Like love is not just romantic love.
That's the thing I wanted to say. I'm sure you've written about other things that you love.
Yeah.
Because even in that love poem collection, it's not just about people. I've written even about my love for tea.
Yeah. I love that. I'd love to hear that. Yeah. When are they coming out? Are they coming out at the same time, or you're putting out one first?
Are still figuring that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we just follow you and we wait.
Yeah, you just follow.
When it's ready, it will be ready.
Yeah.
Okay. Say no more. Say no more. Now that you can't slam anymore, well, you can do the Grand Slam still. Yeah. When is that? Next year. Okay. So are you excited for that?
Yes, I'm excited, but I don't think I'll slam. I know I will not slam.
Why not? You're breaking hearts right now.
No, people still receive my poetry all the time.
Yeah.
I don't have to be slamming for you guys to receive my work or my poetry. Like I put up shows all the time, right? I share my poetry online. I'm publishing again. So it's not to say you will not see my work, just to say that I will not slam. And one, because slam is very competitive.
Yeah.
And I think this year at Slam, I low-key said goodbye to Slam. Because I said the goal is to slow down my life as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes, especially when you're preparing for Slam, for me, it becomes a little bit difficult to have a slow life. Because you're locked in for real, right?
Yeah.
You're in a lot of pressure. And I made a decision to stop pursuing competitive poetry.
Love that. Yeah.
Because I want my work to be received in the way that it is, and therefore one of those things had to be me laying off the pressure to write a certain way in order for my work to be received as it is. I have to write it as it is first.
Yeah.
And so I made the decision to not slam anymore, mostly because of that, and also secondly because I've slammed 3 times now.
Yeah.
Right? Let the new poets slam.
Yeah. No, I love that. Create room for more people.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. Do you have any show coming up anytime soon?
Yes, I do. I have a show on the 28th of this month.
Okay.
At Wasps and Sprouts. The tickets are going for $1,500. The link is not yet out, but it should be within the next 2 days.
Yeah, I saw something you posted, so we can find out about the event from your page and at a new supporter. So I saw something you posted. I just can't remember the words to the piece, but it was maybe yesterday or the day before, and it was, I think, like a very self-affirming piece for anybody that was hearing. I'm not sure if you know which one I'm talking about. Yeah, no, yeah, you're like, I post this all the time. I honestly cannot remember, but like watching that was just very beautiful. I think you have a way of, your words don't go to the ears, they go to the heart. And I think that's what I've experienced with you all through. Has this been something that you intentionally have worked on how to present your art, or is it something that's just been very natural to you?
I think, and I talk about this all the time with Ian. So the first time I slummed, I've been at slum 4 times now. So the first time I slummed was in 2019. And by then I was like a very young poet. A lot of people didn't know about me or didn't know my poetry. And then I made it to the finals, but I never showed up for the Grand Slam itself, for the finals. So again, people ended up not knowing me because preliminaries ni watu watatu wanne ukuja.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went to campus, right? So campus was out of Nairobi. I went to Narok, and within those 4 years, I was writing poetry, performing within the school, putting shows within the school, but very student-based. And then now, when I came back to Nairobi after graduation, I sat down with myself and said, this is a skill that I have. This is a skill that I want to share with the world. And I asked myself, what do I want my poetry to do for the world? And the answer immediately was heal. And so I set out the intention. And from then on, I think I wrote, presented, and spoke in a way that I think when you set an intention, it just shows up. I can't tell you, there's not like an ABC.
As long as it's true to you,
There's not like an ABC of what I did, but I always knew that was the intention behind it. I wanted to be so authentic and honest and vulnerable in my work that as I healed, the world would also heal through my work.
Yeah.
And so that's what I set out to do. And I think it's that intention and that authenticity and that rawness and that desire to heal the world that then speaks to people's hearts.
Dope. Speaking of healing, and you said as you heal yourself, you also heal the world in the process. Whenever you're going through something, because as poets we will write everything. When you said to Kidogo, my guy, you end up in a poem, yeah? So whenever you're going through anything, whether it's a good thing in life, or sometimes I find a good thing in life or a bad thing in life, do you internalize it first before you write it, or is writing it a part of that internalizing for you?
I think for me, writing is part of the processing, actually. I wouldn't use the word internalizing, more like processing for me. So I think for me, the writing is part of the processing. But that being said, it doesn't have I always write through the process. Sometimes I've already gone through the process, then I write at the end, or I'm still in the process or at a different stage of the process. But my poetry is with me throughout my life, whether I'm at the beginning of grieving or at the end of grieving, whether I'm the beginning of joy or in the middle of joy, regardless of where I am, my poetry will be there with me.
Yeah. Whenever you write, is it say you witness something today and you say, you know what, I want to write about this thing that I've witnessed, or is it your poetry kind of comes to you where you don't know where the pen will stop? It just... Yeah.
My poetry comes to me and I don't know when the poem will stop, when the pen will stop. But sometimes the pen stops and I have this feeling no, this poem is not complete.
There's something.
So I read that poem from the beginning, and then when I come to where I had stopped writing, the words now begin to flow. It
continues,
again.
Okay, Dave. There's a project you're a part of, I forget the name, with the menstrual cups.
Yeah, could you cup?
Yes. Tell us more about that. So me personally, I've never used them.
Oh, I should have come with some then.
You should.
Yeah. I'll start walking with 2 in my bag.
First of all, women to women, do you think they're much better than tampons or... I don't even remember pads anymore because I stopped using those things a long time ago. Yeah, are they actually much better? And tell us more about that.
Did you just say yes? They're better than tampons. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You're disappointed?
Yeah. No.
Like you should have said
I
yes.
just wanted to know because I never used the tampon, so I don't know. But
Okay.
I don't know from personal experience. But from like the research and stuff that we conduct, the main difference between a tampon and a cup is that when a tampon fills, it bulges, and so you can feel that, or maybe the uncomfort. At least, again, from what the women tell me,
Yeah.
you can feel that process, right? And the fact that it's like cotton, so it's maybe uncomfortable, especially the removing. Sometimes the inserting can also be uncomfortable if like you're on a, is it like lesser flow day?
Yeah.
So that's what I hear. That being said, I will say 100% cups are like the best menstrual product I have used.
Yeah.
Because the first time I used a cup, I was like, oh, I don't hate being on my periods. I just
Good
hate
you.
using the fucking pads. I just hate using the
Yeah,
pads.
pads are a bit too much. They're messy.
But you see, like, I think 80% of the population uses pads.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? And so, like, why is the biggest percentage of the population of menstruators using the most uncomfortable menstruation product?
And it's also more expensive, is it not? Like, because you're
yeah,
buying
because you're constantly buying it.
Yeah.
Again, capitalism.
Yep.
But because you're constantly buying it every other time, every other month. So it's the most expensive, it's the most harmful, it's the most uncomfortable, and yet it's the most used, and it just didn't make sense for me. So when Could You Cup approached me for that partnership, I was like, yes, immediately.
Yeah.
And then for me, when I use them, I swear, I wouldn't go as far as to say I love my periods now, but I would say they don't make me as uncomfortable.
You're friendly now. You're friendly.
Yeah, like it doesn't, like sometimes I even forget I'm on my period. You know? It's not this, it stopped being this week where I have to grieve and I have to have bad moods because I'm constantly thinking about changing the pads and stuff like that. It's just, it's one more thing that I get to do, you know?
Yeah.
It stopped being a thing. Yeah, and I think that's a beautiful gift, because if I'm gonna menstruate for like the next 20, 30 years, it shouldn't have to be a big deal every time I menstruate. So I really love them, honestly.
I'm gonna try it next time.
Yes,
a few weeks from now.
Yeah. Oh.
Girl, so you have to put that timeline,
try it.
Okay, so let's
then if I would,
of
one
course.
more thing about the cup is, I don't know if it's the same with tampons, but the cup really allows you to interact with your body. Because, you know, you literally have to learn how to insert it and insert it correctly. So the cup allows you to interact with your body. And I find in that process there's so much freedom and knowledge and learning. The vagina stops becoming... What's that word they used to call vaginas when we were little? Or when you're big... The vagina once stops becoming kasusu, it stops becoming down there, it stops being this. For you, it rewires you how you think about your reproductive system and how you interact with it. Because you're literally, it's not you're just putting pads on your panty and wearing it. You're literally having to interact with that part of yourself. You're having to interact with your vagina. You're having to feel it. You're having to know when is the cup full? How do I empty it? You're having to remove to empty, then reinsert. You're constantly interacting with your vagina. You're learning, like, oh my God, truly, it's a spiritual process.
Kuna watu hapa wanasikia vagina wanasensa kwa kichwa wanasema no susu. Okay, so you said again capitalism, right? So let's link that to capitalism. At what point do you become, as Ka, at what point did you become conscious of the linking of everything you see, the realities, to capitalism?
Oh my God, I think it was when I was in high school.
Yeah,
and all of this, I think most of these things came before my poetry, and then my poetry became a way of expressing those thoughts.
Things.
Yeah, those things and those thoughts, and trying to show the world, hey guys, look, see a web. It was through literature, I would say. It was through reading, through poetry again, because like I would listen. When I was in high school and I was listening to Kinarudi, I'm like, these people are literally complaining about the same shit. We're all complaining about the same shit. It I would say mostly it was through literature and through poetry, because I would find that poets across the world, literature people across the world were saying the same thing in their art. They were saying the same things in their books. They were saying the same things in their poetry.
Yeah.
And so now I began to see, so this whole time it's been capitalism.
Yeah, we know who the boogeyman is.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. If there was the ideal system for you, what would an ideal system look like?
I don't have a word for it yet. But the ideal system
can describe it,
for me is a system where we all remember we're human and we all dignify each other's humanity. You don't have to agree with it. It's like tangent, but one of the things I struggled with a lot is the tribalism in Kenya. And I think I was having this thought a time ago where, when you ask someone, okay, but what's your second name? And then they say, my name Kenya. And then I was like, fine, true, honestly, we're named Kenya. But I was like, is this truly the way to get over tribalism?
I was having this conversation with someone the other day. Yeah.
One, I really don't believe that tribalism is as much as the people say, because again, optics, we are made to believe that we're tribalists so that the political class can fit into it. So first and foremost, I don't believe it's there as much as they say it is. But also, I'm like, is not acknowledging the fact that we come from different tribes really the way that we overcome this thing? Because at the end of the day, we do come from different tribes. And so then it brings the thing about dignifying your humanity regardless of whether it looks the same as me. Like, yes, you can be Mwende and I can be Njeri and we're both human beings, and it doesn't have to be, meaning Kenya, no. It's like, you're you and I'm me. Because I think for me what that approach does, it says the only way we can be acceptant of each other is if we are homogeneous.
Yeah.
And we're never that's erasure first and foremost, and then we're never going to be homogeneous. And so if that's the way you're taking out of it, then we're never really going to get to that place where we see each other for who we are and it's okay. So I think for me the system that eventually works is a system that dignifies our humanity regardless of the differences. And in dignifying our humanity, it's whether it's tribe, whether it's class, whether it's race, whatever it is, at the core of it is your humanity dignified.
No, 100%. You said you don't have a name for it yet, but I think even this whole naming is a trap. It's like, name something, but whatever is, it already is. It doesn't need a name to be, right? So if this system is just, it doesn't need a name. It's just, and it works, type of thing. And I do agree a lot when it comes to tribalism, because I'm from Sudan and South Sudan, and we've had the same issue where everyone goes, my tribe is South Sudan. I'm like, but that's not your tribe, though. As much as tribe itself has colonial roots, but people having ethnic diversity is not a product of colonialism. What colonialism did is amplify the differences, or not even the differences, but make them a problem. And so the issue has never been me seeing your color or me seeing your whatever. It's what I do after seeing that or acknowledging that, right? So when white people say, I don't see color, I'm colorblind. My guy, you Stevie Wonder. Like, be serious, So, poetry-wise, is there a difference for you? I asked Dominion this as well. Is there a difference for you between, now that you're coming up with, or you're publishing your book soon, is there a difference between poetry that's written for sonic consumption and poetry that is written to be read? Yeah.
I would really say no. I think, I don't know why, but it's like when I'm writing, there's a voice in my head. And so when I'm performing, I perform with the voice that I was writing that poem with. Just for the way to explain it. So for me, no, not really. Like all of my poems are poems I wrote before I ever performed them. Like even this poem, I Was Not Raised by Soft Women. It's a poem that I wrote like 2 years ago. And when I wrote it, I just wrote it. But then again, when I had that International Women's Day thing, I went through my poetry and I was like, okay, what would I like to perform? What story would I like to bring to the stage? And maybe that was originally written just to be written, but then I took it and I was like, how can I make this into a performance?
Into something, yeah.
But then I think, I don't know, but one of the theories I have is because I have been influenced by spoken poetry as much as I have been influenced by literature, like written. And so maybe my work then becomes a combination of those worlds, even as I'm writing it out.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't think I ever read poetry, to be fair. Like growing up, reading poetry has always been so boring to me, unless it's specific people, like Edgar Allan Poe. I think he's incredible. Specific people, but mostly I like to hear it. So then it's built this thing in my head where I'm like, no, don't read my poetry unless I specifically wrote this to be read. In terms of where you come from, one, let's speak about your grandmother, because she's one person that she's
really
constant
in
your work. So let's speak about your grandmother. Were you raised by your grandmother?
Yes, I was. I was raised by her, like, I think the first, like 10th. Well, I wasn't really raised by her, but I was raised by her and my mom. So like she was, the way she was present all the time. It was like they did this reverse Uno where my mom was like the
bad cop?
the provider.
Okay.
And then my mom
she was the
like
stay-at-home mother.
And then my grandmother was the stay-at-home mom. So
So are you Maasai?
No, I am not.
Are you not? Because you said you were in uni in Narok. You said that?
Yes,
so I was like, okay, maybe she's Maasai. Because I've never been able to place you anywhere. Like, I'm always like...
when you said reading people's names and then you literally forgot. You actually forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Because you read my name.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
You actually forgot.
So you're Kikuyu. Okay,
Yes,
I figured it
I
now. Too late,
Yes, I
man.
am.
Oh,
Yes, I
wow,
am.
okay. I don't know what... And then in my head this whole time when you said Narok, I'm looking at you, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that she's Maasai. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. I built a whole
I've
image.
had those allegations before for what it's worth. People have said I'm either Samburu or Maasai.
Yeah.
So it's around the Nilotic tribe.
Yeah, you do fit a Maasai frame.
How?
I don't know, you look Maasai. It makes sense.
I mean,
So
it's okay.
in my head it will stick now. But then also Kikuyu makes sense as
Kikuyu
well.
makes sense
I
as
think it's
well.
one of those, when you say wherever you're from, it just makes sense. Like, oh yeah, I can see it.
I'm
type of
curious, you
thing.
said you couldn't place me anywhere.
Yeah, I couldn't place you anywhere because I'm always curious and I put like stories to people type of thing. So I look at someone, I'm like, okay, they look like they're from South Sudan or they look like they're from here. So in South Sudan as well, I try to place people. I'm like, okay, and I always get it wrong. That's the thing. For the longest time, I didn't know that Equatorians, so Equatorians are a group of people in South Sudan, and I didn't know that Equatorians have like tall, dark ones, like how the Dinka do. And so anytime I saw a tall, dark person, I was like, okay, they're either Dinka, Nuer, Shilluk, da. And then I only found out recently from friends that I've known for so long that they were not the tribe I thought they were the whole time. So I'm like, shit, you people also have the tall people like that. I didn't know. So I'm always just playing this like an identity game in my head that I do with people. Did you grow up in Nairobi?
Partly, yes, but I was a nomad growing up, so I grew up everywhere.
So you moved around quite a bit.
A lot. Not quite a bit, a lot.
Yeah.
Bro, a lot. There's this time I went to...
gypsies, Ama?
I don't know. There's this time I went to a school for literally 2 weeks, bro. And then the worst part is, it was in like a very remote area in Kirinyaga. It's called Kendangai. And so I had to shave my hair to go to that school. And
for
then
2 weeks?
I went to the school for 2 weeks. I'm still mad at my people because I could have just stayed
what
home.
happened? What happened that
I
you
don't
went there, they're like,
know.
no, we're back? Like,
I think maybe they got tired of the rural life. I don't know.
They were like 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2
too
weeks
much.
ago, they were like, no, this is not
We can't
it.
do this for 10.
Is not it, yeah.
So do you think that's that movement is also what has allowed you to somehow have, not somehow, to have this way of connecting things, connecting struggle from Kenya to Sudan to, Palestine?
I've never thought about it, but as you say, yes.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of the connecting different places, because I've been in very many different places, and then yet they're all the same.
Yeah, you see everything.
You see everything, and then you see the same. But the thing that the travel did the most for me was make me very accepting and very empathetic of different people. Because I was never in one setting for too long. So
Yeah.
I was always aware that just because I'm in this setting doesn't mean it's the correct setting.
Yeah,
Or
it's just another
or
setting.
It's the setting.
Yeah.
It was just, okay, I'm here for 2 weeks. I'll be somewhere in a different setting with different people, different type for 2 weeks. And I think it's also why people can't please me a lot.
Yeah.
Because also
There's a merging of so
there's
much.
a merging
Yeah.
of everything.
Yeah.
My favorite
Yeah.
food is ugali. A lot
Yeah.
of people don't even like ugali.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they don't even eat fish. Like, so it's just
It's the lower side of you.
yeah, that's the lower side of me coming up.
Yeah.
And then also, like, the people who raised me also moved a little. Like, I think I've moved the most, but also the people who raised me moved a lot. And so, like, they also had influences from all over. My grandmother, her dad was Tanzanian. And so, like, there's always been nomadism and in the family.
Yeah.
And there's been a mix of very different cultures in the family as well, because we have, like, a Muslim side of the family, we have a Kikuyu side of the family, we
Yeah.
have a what side of the family.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing that it allowed me is to see humans as humans, like to see different people, different places, and still see that all of them are human. And I think I carry that a lot in my poetry.
No, I have a friend who he always says how for me I don't have a problem being a refugee, my God. If I wasn't a refugee, I would have seen what I've seen, you know. So
Wow.
yeah, your experiences always shape a lot of sort of
How
the
you see
person
the
you
world.
become and how you view the world and all of that. You seem like a very grounded person. I'm going to say you are as if I know you from day one, but you seem like a very grounded person. And there's a sense of peace that you just give out generally. Like it's
thank
just
you.
very calm and what's the word for it? There's a word for it that I can't find right now, but there's this stillness you're in. Even when you're on stage, there's still a stillness to you. Do you follow any religion?
You know, when I was in Ghana, I was asked if I'm a Christian twice, and I said no.
Mm-hmm.
And before I said it, I hadn't known that I had arrived to that place of saying no, I'm not a Christian. I was like, imebakia to the third time. Come on, Peter.
Is this the third time?
Maybe it is. I don't know. Again, I have been a Christian, and I wouldn't say I'm not a Christian, but I'm at a place of navigating that and what it means. Like, I always go through these journeys with my faith where I'm fully committed, and then something happens and I'm like, bro, we're beefing.
Imeanza kunibo.
Hapana, sielewi, kuna vitu hazimake sense. Let me go back to the drawing table and come up with something that makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
So, but at this point, I would say I'm half a universalist and half a Christian. However, that's
What's a universalist?
I just believe in the universe and shit.
Okay,
you know?
okay. Because I've never heard that, so I was like, what's that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a thing, but most of the times I find myself saying, you know, when I say like there's this poem I wrote, and I was like, I do not have the energy to exist as human again. Universe, please take note. So that poem, I was writing it to the universe.
Yeah.
You know, I was like as this creative force as the universe.
The same way a Christian would write it to
God,
or
exactly,
or a Muslim
exactly.
would. Okay.
Yeah. And some of my poems I write to God, so I would say like I'm as much Christian as I am a universalist.
Yeah. Okay, universalist. That's interesting because I use that a lot. So now I'm like, okay, there's a word for this. Whether you came up with it or it exists, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit there. I'll go research it first. Like, okay, Scar came up with this. Okay, so we're going to wrap up soon, but I would like you to tell me, is there any particular ideological box that you fit in? You know, say how someone would say, I am a capitalist, or I am a feminist, or I am a socialist, or a communist.
I'm definitely a feminist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's the one ideological box.
That's the one I fit in perfectly. Like I can't. There's even no wiggle room. I'm comfortable.
Yeah, they're very good
I'm
at there. Yeah?
comfortable, yeah.
Okay, that's the only one.
I don't think
Any
it's
other
the only
ideological
one.
boxes?
I don't really tend to like figure out I am this, I am this.
Yeah.
But I think feminist and queer girl.
Yeah. Power to being free and
Hey,
being
happy
yourself.
Pride Month.
That's it. Oh yeah, somebody did tell me it's Pride Month. They told me there's a lot of events happening.
There are.
Yeah, and I was like, I would like to come and learn more. You know, I'm always on this side where is live and let live. if you're not doing harm to me or harm to nobody else, then you should be free to exist as you exist. But at some point, I feel like that also is not enough. If you have the opportunity to learn more and understand more, then why not? Okay, so we are going to be closing off soon, but let's just see if the audience have any questions. You're always ready, yeah? You're always ready. All right, let's get the mic.
Hello.
Hi.
So I'm gonna try and be straight, but I still haven't formed the like how I can ask this. So one of the reasons I'm here is because I want to be. I just moved to Kenya, and I want to be part of spaces that allow you to like bond and connect with people and stuff. And I feel like that's part of the activist journey, or the it's like a radical act to try and like tap into spaces and trying to connect with people. And I'm wondering how that is for you as an activist. Like, how is navigating different spaces that you're part of, and how's your experience? Do you feel like you also like, do you have this longing or lack for like a space that you feel like you don't fit in, or do you feel like you found like your spaces?
I think different seasons feel different. For the longest time, I used to feel like the conversations I have are like weird conversations, you know, like conversation about capitalism, communism, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, nobody wants to talk
And you
about
realize you're
that
the wrong
shit.
people. It's just the wrong people.
Yeah, and then I think what I felt last year with the protests is all around me, I felt like the world is waking up. The world is waking up.
For sure.
I felt like all these things that have always mattered to me are finally mattering to people
To
as
other
well.
people, yeah.
So it's always, different seasons have different feelings. You don't always fit. Sometimes you fit. But then that's the thing I've learned to do, I think, with the stillness that you're pointing out. I have learned to be my space and therefore belong anywhere I go, because in me is a space for me, right? And so to show up as yourself, because sometimes you realize you will be the one coming with a new idea. And of course, it's not going to fit anywhere. But eventually, if you speak about that new idea long enough, there are people who have those feelings that you will then create a community for in that process. And so I've learned the place where I feel most at home is myself. I've learned to view ni kama hapa hivi kuna tuka space hivi.
Nani yangu?
Okay. It's like, oh, I realize you're not Kenya. It's like around me there's just a space that I have created for me that walks with me everywhere I go. Then therefore, I am home everywhere I go. It's not always the case. Sometimes I'm very uncomfortable. But again, vulnerability is not easy. Authenticity is not easy. Just as you said, it's a radical act. So being radical will always cost you comfort. And you have to be okay with that.
Hi.
Hello.
Mine is not a question again.
Yours is never a question, but it's a question. It's a
It is a
request.
question.
Should I complete it for you?
Yes.
He would like you to give us one of your pieces.
The one that you posted today, maybe, about the system.
The one that I
Yeah,
posted about the
that one.
system. It's a very short poem.
You'll add another one on top.
He said, don't worry, we're not in a rush.
It's a very short poem. So the one I posted today about the system is, of course I'm afraid. I could easily be the next person to go missing. The next person to be found dead in a police station. Of course I'm afraid of staying quiet, of not staying quiet. I speak up, I die. I stay quiet, I die. Because this fucking system, it kills you anyway. Through the bullet, the taxes, it kills you anyway. Through the gun or a broken healthcare system, it kills you anyway. So of course, I'm afraid. But they're still killing me anyway. Yeah.
I think that's proof how a poem doesn't need to be long for a message to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a
truly.
very powerful piece.
It is.
You have a question?
Yes, I
Oh, yeah,
do.
yeah, hold the mic, sorry. Continue.
So You spoke about you being a nomad, and I'm also a nomad. I moved around a lot, quite a lot actually. And with that moving a lot, there were positives with it and there was negatives with it. So could you please tell me what was your best part of being a nomad and what was the worst part of being a nomad?
I don't think I've sat with it long enough to figure out all the aspects of it and how it affected me. But for me, like the thing I wouldn't say best or worst. I did not use those words. But what I loved the most was what I said, that it allowed me to see so many different things and to open my mind to the fact that nothing is ever the right thing. It's just what is in that moment. And then therefore it allowed me to have this openness in receiving people, in receiving things, in experiencing, you know. But the thing that I would say that I don't like about it is that over time I noticed I stopped forming permanent attachments. Because I was always aware that this is a temporary situation. So how then do you form permanent attachments in a situation that at the back of your mind you know is definitely not permanent, it's temporary. You're not going to be here in 2 weeks. And so I found that when I look back at my childhood, like as you meet me now, you would think, oh my God, you were so grounded and rooted in your childhood. Bro, I was a floating thing. I was just floating. Like, I don't remember my friends because I don't remember. Because, you know, I never let them sit that much. Like, I'm sure for this person, like, I meet people and they're like, oh, we were together in primary school. I'm like, oh, okay. But I never allowed myself to let them touch me in that way because I knew then I would be moving from this. That being said, once you notice something about yourself that you don't necessarily like, it's your responsibility to change it. Hence why one of the biggest things I do is make community for myself right now. I create community. I have been able, as an adult, to now form permanent, long-lasting friendships, to be present in my community, to show up for people, to allow myself to be fully vulnerable with them. And I think that reflects a lot. So, yeah.
Follow-up question, sorry.
No, you're not allowed. Okay, that's my cousin. No, go for it, yeah?
Because it's such an interesting conversation.
Okay.
Just one follow-up question. So how then did you let yourself be vulnerable in connecting with people? How hard was that process?
I mean, it's still hard even today. Like, I think people think just because I'm very vulnerable, it's easy. Like, it's still hard. It's still it's still hard. And there's sometimes where I find like I'm going back almost to like my normal patterns. I haven't spoken to my best friend in like 3 days. And I'm like, hey, bro, chill. You need to show up. You need to show up. So it's like it's a constant thing. It is hard. And it's not hard because it's a hard thing in itself. It's hard just because you're rewiring your brain of how it used to show up, and now you're trying to teach your brain to show up in a new way. And so of course it's going to be difficult because you're learning a new thing. It's like a skill, right? So it's a new emotive skill. So it's going to take time. But I would say I've become better and better at it the more I do it. It's not necessarily become easier, but I've become, like, the resistance has gotten less. Or also, there's this perspective, I have learned to, like when I feel that resistance, I have learned to see it as, there's this thing I saw online. Like, you know, when if you love someone, you're willing to inconvenience yourself in order to do something that will be meaningful for them. So ideally, though I show up as a floating person, it would be meaningful to me, for me to show up in a connected way. And so therefore, I look at it as I am inconveniencing myself in order to give myself this thing that's important to me, the same way I would do it to a friend. Me being in a community that's present and connected is important to me. So therefore, me getting over the discomfort of doing this thing that I wasn't used to doing is me gifting myself that community. It's me allowing myself that inconvenience so that I can also show up for me. Yes.
Scar, before we wrap up, they're looking at me like, close it off. But there's one thing we forgot to talk about, and we didn't talk about this, is your experience in Ghana. Of course, you're not slamming again, but one of the opportunities that came with slamming was going to Ghana and experiencing art from that side and being among other people, and community, again, is something that's a big thing for you. Tell us a bit about the experience in Ghana.
It was a very beautiful experience, and it impacted, first and foremost, the theme was of memory and loss.
Yeah.
And one of the TikToks I posted said, you know what, I should have really thought about that before I came, because I felt like I went there, honestly, not very expectant of the type of conversations and poetry that will be taking place. Hey, my God. I was crying deep, back to back.
Yeah.
It was so deep. And I feel like that experience tore something else open in me. And some of the poetry that I have been sharing is poetry. I wrote so many poems while I was there. So some of the poems I've been sharing was poetry that I wrote while I was there. And one of them, of course, went viral. It's about grief. So I think that experience was very deep. And I think it shows also in the type of poetry that I have been sharing from that experience. And I would say one of the things that was most valuable to me was having Professor Abuna Busia and Sitawa Namwale Dad in the room with us. For a full week, I was in the presence of these women. For a full week, I saw them just exist, not as literally legends, but as women. As just one other woman. You know, I saw Professor drinking tea. I saw Sitawa getting dressed up and going for her morning walks. We had conversations outside of poetry on just the journey of being a woman. And my God, it's like, I swear I was quiet the whole time because it just felt like I was just siphoning. And to think about the opportunity to literally, you know, one of the things I found out while I was there is that Professor was an ambassador to Brazil and Ghana. I was like, why? Like, I'm literally in a room with a diplomat, and to then be able to seep from her experience in the world, not just as a poet, not just as a literary legend, but as a person who has traversed the world, as a person who has exposed themselves, as a person who shares so many of the thoughts I have, but then has had the chance to, like, you know me, I'm here. How she's lived, she's like, I don't know, 70 words.
So kuna ka spectrum hapa.
Kuna ka spectrum. So while we share the same thoughts, she's had time and time to sit in those thoughts and to think about them and to find new perspective and to shed things that were no longer true for her and to reinstall in the things that were true. And I was just, the whole time I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I actually, oh my God, let me just share this poem.
The way you're even describing is like, I'm going to go to Ghana, I want to experience this.
It was such a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look for it. Okay.
Ms. Kasirike, we're locking off.
I want to be like this women. I want to have a voice as refined as Professor Abuna's. You listen even when you do not understand the stories, even when you do not know who they're about, you listen and somehow it translates. I want to have Professors Grace and Sitawa's confidence, women who have refined themselves by going back into themselves and saying, yes, this is who we are. I want to be bold like Sitawa. Say, no, don't call me Beth. I do not use that name. My name is Sitawa Namwale the that. I want to show up casually dressed for dinner, adorned with jewelry collected from the world. I want the richness of stories about Chinua Achebe and the first time you made a play out of poetry. I want to be like this women, who casually talk about the politics of the world dressed in silk derras that have legs, talk about the cities we've been to, the poetry we've listened to, the books we've read, and how they come up in real life. I've always said I wanted to be like my grandmother, but really, I want to be like all our grandmothers. I want professors' ease and elegance, Sitawa's wisdom and courage, these women of Africa who the world has always stood on. Look at how much they have despite how much they have given. See how they preserve culture like sweet nectar on their tongues. See how they carry the continent without saying a word. I want to be like this, women. Take your careers. Take your corporate ladders. Give me the woman in brass jewelry and a dera with legs. Give me the woman with a fully shaved head and silver jewelry you've never seen before. And probably never will. Give me the women who still want to go to the market, to touch the fabric before they buy it, inhale the scent of the market, haggle a little bit, and walk off with a piece you will never see again, and had not seen its wonder before she picked it out. This here is what I want.